You've decided to create some content to attract your ideal clients. Great. Now for the big question. What are the best types of thought leadership content to create? In this video, I'll share 3 content creation strategies that will change how you promote and market yourself. So you've walked in, sat down at your computer, and you're ready to begin. Now what? What are you going to create? Where are you going to share it? And how are you going to create it? These are the 3 big questions that determine the best types of thought leadership content to create. And now you might be thinking I'm going to tell you that you need to write a 212-word article for LinkedIn with 3 secret hashtags that must be posted at precisely 7:47 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, and it must be liked and commented by at least 8 people within the first 43 minutes of it being live on LinkedIn. If that's what you're looking for, sorry, wrong video. This one is not about tactics. It's about the strategy for the best types of thought leadership content you can create. It's about 3 principles that address the 3 most important questions of what to create, where to share it, and how to create it. Usually when people think about content creation, they think about social media and content marketing to attract new clients. That can work. And the big question around that people want to know is, what channel should I publish on? Should I be on LinkedIn? Should I be on Facebook? Should I be on YouTube? Should I be on Instagram, TikTok? The second big thing people want to know is how to stand out from the crowd. And the big problem here is they want to stand out even when they're doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. That's content creation insanity. And the third point is that content creation can be hard work. It can be really tough to put a lot of time and effort into creating great content that just gets ignored. Sometimes you wonder whether it's all worth it. I know I have. In this video, I'm going to answer the same 3 questions that everybody asks about content creation. But I'm going to answer these 3 vital questions based on what I think a thought leader would do. This video is about strategy, not tactics. And my answers might surprise you. Let's start with the all-important question. What content should you create? To answer this question, we need to ask a bigger question. What makes someone a thought leader? At a simple level, a thought leader is someone who earns money from their ideas. And rather than get caught up in trying to define what is an idea, I think a better question is, what's the purpose of having ideas? Why do we have ideas? At a very simple level, it's to help us take effective action. And there are 2 types of action that our ideas generate for us. The first is they create a context, which helps us decide which specific action to take. And the second part is the specific action or the practical steps we actually do take. A simple way to think about this is to think like a doctor. When you go visit a doctor, they do 2 things. They ask a whole bunch of questions, they check out your symptoms so they can diagnose what the problem is. Then, once they've worked out the context or the problem, they can tell you, I'd be doing this, but definitely don't do that. So you'll have a diagnosis and you'll have a prescription. And this is the best type of content for a thought leader to create. You want to diagnose and give context to your clients' problems, and then you provide them with strategies, tips, and practical steps that they can take to resolve their problems. The second big question about what type of content to create is around where should you publish or share it. And in my opinion, most people get this wrong because they focus on the wrong channel. And I'm not here to tell you that LinkedIn is better than Facebook or that TikTok is better than YouTube. That's a tactical conversation, not a strategic one. And that's why I think it's the wrong question. In a previous video, I shared an ascension marketing curve. And the simple idea behind the curve is that the better the relationship you have with your clients, the more likely they are to pay you money and more money. And in another video, I shared some research from Harvard Business Review that said it was 5 to 25 times cheaper to service an existing customer than attract a new one. This means instead of focusing all your content creation energies towards attracting new clients, which most people do, you're better off focusing on your existing customers. And in the video on capital content, I shared the revolutionary idea that you should only have one form of content that appeals both to attracting new clients, but most importantly, keeping your existing clients as well. In this way, you're generating content that serves both audiences. And that's what you need to be focusing on. Now I want to take this one step further and show you where you can get the greatest leverage or bang for your buck from your thought leadership content creation efforts. And I've created a little graph called the content kick. It shows where you can get the biggest kick out of your content efforts. On the vertical axis, it shows the level of impact you can have with your content, and on the horizontal axis, it shows how many people you can reach with your content. Typically, there's a natural trade-off between the two. If you want more impact, then you actually have to reduce the amount of people you're going to reach, and vice versa. You can have reach or you can have impact, but normally you can't have both. And there are 5 levels to consider here. 3 of these levels are what most people think about in terms of content creation and publishing. And the top 2 will be something different that you might not have considered. At the bottom is social media. You can reach a lot of people, but the competition is very high and the impact is likely to be low. Next up, we have your website, where you probably reach less people, but because they've found you in some way to be on your website in the first place, the impact will be a little higher. In the middle, we have email marketing. At this point, someone's given you permission to send them information, which means they're more tuned into what your message is about. It also means you'll reach less people, but you'll have more impact. Now we have the 2 red levels, which in my view are the 2 best places for thought leaders to publish and share their content. It's based on the belief that this is where your content and your brilliant ideas are going to have the most impact. And I've called this level the exclusive level. And typically you might think of this as where someone is now paying you to work with you. So you've got someone that's got a vested interest because they put down their hard-earned money, so they want some value back from you. And also, it's a much smaller pocket of people, so what you produce can be much more nuanced and niche to the problems that they're facing. A classic example of an exclusive experience around this is if you were paid to do a keynote presentation. You'd be speaking in front of a live audience, and there'd only be a select group of people that can attend that are either part of the conference or part of the organisation that's paid for your presentation. That's a level of exclusivity. And finally, at the top, the bright red piece in the top corner is a one-to-one interaction with a paying client. The reach is as small as it possibly can be, given it's only one person or maybe a room full of people, but the depth and the impact is at its highest because you can personalize your content to exactly what they need in that moment. It fits very strongly with the idea that you should be producing your best content for your paying clients, which follows that research around it being 5 to 25 times cheaper to work with and retain an existing client than attract a new one. The ultimate goal by sharing your best content with your current clients is that you service them and turn them into raving fans. So they absolutely love you, they love your work, and then you can set it up for them to sell you or refer you to other people. So it has its own natural sales advantage as well. And the big bonus here, it steps you out of that really noisy space of social media and content marketing where everybody is yelling and trying to get your attention. And that's why I think this is the best place for thought leaders to share their content. And you should design your content to fit. The third big question to ask about the best types of thought leadership content is how. How are you going to produce your content? I find the big mistake that people make here is they publish content in a generic way. And this typically means that they're doing it like everybody else on that platform. and this means they find it very difficult to have any impact. It doesn't really position your branding because you're just seen as being like everybody else. Worst of all, you don't stand out. Your content drowns in the flood of posts published every single day. And effectively, you're wasting your time and effort. The alternative to being generic and doing it in the same way as everybody else is to do it in mode. And in mode means to deliver your content in the format or the delivery mode that you would provide for your clients. If you're a keynote presenter, then your in-mode delivery style should be to present your ideas as a presenter on video so we can see and hear and feel you presenting your ideas. This is one of the reasons that I'm presenting these videos. I want to keep developing my skills because one day I want to be speaking on the TED stage. This is part of my brand position to show that I present ideas. I don't just write about them. Here's a couple more examples. A trainer should be teaching us something new. A coach should be asking us great questions. A designer should be showcasing the things they've designed and telling us the story about how they got created. And a networker is perfectly placed to gather groups of people together to create user-generated content. Can you see the connection here? How I present my content matches how I want to be seen by my clients. But wait, there's one more thing that we need to add here, and that's your signature style, your individual, your unique way of delivering your content. My personal example is one that I developed from my book summary service, Book Wrapper, and I've written several books, Weekly Done 1 and Weekly 2 Done, in this style. Essentially, it's a visual idea on a one-page snapshot, and I produce a series of pages to create the book. And my question to you is, have you seen any other books presented in this way? And you probably haven't, or at least not seen many of them. So that becomes Geoff's signature style. And that's what I think you should be aiming for. Avoid the generic, deliver in your mode, and find your signature style. To find your signature style, you need to ask, what's your best way? It might take a bit of practice, but if you play to your strengths and test and explore and experiment and share content, eventually you'll find your signature style. And when you do that, you'll not only enjoy the process more, you'll actually get better results. Best of all, you'll stand out from the crowd. Let's wrap up what we've covered here. The three big questions about content creation are what to create, where to share it, and how to create it. The best types of thought leadership content to create are action content that provides a diagnosis and a prescription for action. Create content for your clients. Focus on one-to-one interactions and exclusive content. And number three, to stand out in a sea of content, you need to deliver in mode and ideally in your signature style. And if you want more details around this, check out the link in the description below for the blog that goes with this video. And if you want some coaching around this, head over to my website at geoffmcdonald.com. That's it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.